Hi guys, Virginia here and I'm back with another 12 by 12 process video for you today, and this one is for the Kitaholic Kits design team using their November kits. So they're full of the Cocoa Vanilla Midnights collection, and there's some pink fresh indigo hills in there as well, so I'm kind of focusing on the Cocoa Vanilla for this layout. And I've also cut one of the exclusive cut files for this month. It's a like a large title, it's you and me, and then the O in the word you is a heart shape, so you can choose to put your photo in there or just back it with a pen and paper. I have chosen to put my photo in there. Now of course when I cut the cut file I wasn't even thinking about the photo, and I cut it probably a bit too big. But that's okay. I'm totally going to make this work. I did manage to print my photo a bit larger than I normally would anyway, so it kind of fits in there. I think had I cut it smaller and tried to fit it in anyway, I might have had a bit of a predicament trying to fit the photo in the heart nicely, so it's okay, I'm working with it. I'm going to just strategically place it within that heart on the cut file, and there was a little bit missing down the bottom, but I'm going to cover that with embellishments and stuff like that, so it works out rather fine in the end anyway. So that's all I'm doing, is just kind of fitting that photo in amongst the heart on the cut file. And it fits. The photo is at the beach, and it's of mine and Edison's feet. It's a funny little photo, but it's just a nice little moment, the two of us just sitting in the sand together. So yeah, I thought it would go nice with this and go nice with the kit. The kit's really soft and lovely, and the photo just goes really well with it. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to continue to back the rest of the cut file with the pen and paper. So I'm choosing relatively light ones to keep this layout again really nice and light and bright. I do bring in a dark blue, but I choose the more faded part of the blue pen and paper, if that makes sense, to try to keep it light. I've also chosen the wood grain pen and paper for my background. I love this pen and paper, and I knew as soon as I saw it I wanted to use it, and I thought it went perfectly with this. It makes me feel like you're at the beach, like an old wooden dock or something. It's just beautiful, and that's of course why I've chosen the that wood grain for the background pen and paper. So I'm just continuing to back this cut file. I'm not going to make you watch it all. It's a pretty simple process. Okay, so I've got the word you done. I will trim off the excess soon, and now I'm just choosing what pen and papers I want to use for my last three letters. And as you can see on that blue paper, I've chosen the lighter section, and that's it. So that's what I've chosen. So there we go. It's all done, nice and backed. And I think that blue pen and paper on the letter M kind of balances out the darkness in the sand on the in the photo. So that's why I've chosen that as well. It just brings a bit of something darker in as well. Okay, so I'm going to add some adhesive foam behind my photo. Pretty simple. There we go. That's all done. And now I can start to embellish the page. I'm not going to stick anything down just yet, just in case. Rightio, so we've got some of these gold hearts. I'm going to adhere them to some white cardstock, just a scrap piece, and I'm going to cut them out. That just allows me the ability to kind of shuffle them around the page and find the right home for them before I commit to anything. Okay, and then I can start looking through die cuts. I thought about bringing in some of the pink fresh, but then remembered that there are a ton in the Cocoa Vanilla Studios die cut packs, so they quickly get put to the side. I did contemplate some of these tags, but they don't make it. But I come across the frames, and I actually quite like the idea of the frames. I love frames for a base to a cluster. They form a really great starting point. You can add things in amongst them and on top of them and underneath them and around them, and they make a little home for that cluster, if that makes sense. So I've popped a frame up there, and I do bring out another one shortly, and I'm furiously trying to find something to cover the bottom part of this photo that's exposed. And I thought about some of the banners and stacking some labels or some words. You'll see me continue to try with these banners for quite a while, but they end up getting taken off, because I do find something later on that fits perfectly. Okay, so I'm going through the sticker sheet. I'm going to pull out one of the flowers and just tuck that down there. I like that there, that kind of fills in that space nicely, the flowers. Adds a bit of softness. So I'm just moving things down a little bit just to try to cover it. I don't want to cover up the photo, I just want to cover up the white space, because the focal point of the photo is right at the bottom of it, so I'm being mindful of what goes where. Okay, so I'm looking through the chipboard pieces now, and I found this beautiful moments chipboard piece, and I actually really love that, and I thought that that would add nicely to the title. So we've got beautiful moments, you and me, and I love that. So I'm going to add one at the top right and one at the bottom left, and that's going to form, basically I'm going to end up with a diagonal design across my page. Yes, I've got a main large cut file, but with the clusters at the top right, bottom left, and at the center, it's forming a diagonal line down the page, which is drawing your eye through the page. Okay, so here I am, I'm starting to form these clusters at the top and the bottom, and I've popped a chipboard frame down that bottom, and I'm just basically adding a few flowers, some leaves. I'm repeating elements. We've got 2 flowers in each, a couple of leaves. I'm going to add one of those gold hearts in each of them. And this is when I discovered the little banner flag, or bunting, whatever you want to call it, and it fits snugly and perfectly around the shape of that heart. So I'm going to take off those other little flags and replace it with that, and I love that. It's just the perfect place for it. Okay, I'm going to struggle to find a place for that third gold heart, but I will get one in eventually. I'm going to add another flower just to cover up those spots, and a leaf. And then I'm going to bring a few little pieces out onto that letter M just to break it up a bit. I'm going to add some chipboard hearts, just to add a bit more colour there, and to repeat that shape, that heart. And I fussed around with this little tab. First I tried a die cut one, a chipboard one, and I liked them all, but then I found this lovely soft pink one that says "Oh So Lovely," and tucked it into the side of that letter U on the photo, and I love that. That was the perfect one. Just adds lightness and a nice little sentiment for the layout. Right, so I'm rather happy with everything, so I'm going to glue it all down. So I'm just kind of working my way from the bottom up, because I don't want to move too much. I find that I lose its place if I start moving things around. So I'm just, again, working from the bottom up. So this one is tucked on top of the letter U. So I've popped a little bit of foam on it, and I'm just adhering it to the U. I'm going to adhere that chipboard beautiful down. I can work on this cluster under the photo. So just gluing. And I've broken another fine line bottle. I don't know what it is, but I seem to be having a bit of a bad run of these lately. My other one lasted quite a while, my first one. And the last 2 that I've had are just not working out too well. They've cracked at the top where you unscrew it. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but nonetheless I do have a spare, luckily. But yeah, I do end up with glue all over my hands shortly, and I'm wondering where it comes from. But yeah, okay, so I'm just working on this third cluster. I'm trimming off the excess of that chipboard frame just because there is foam under that letter, or that word "and," or the ampersand. And then I'm going to glue these other die cut pieces back in place. And my little gold heart. My chipboard heart, pop that back in place, and then the word "moments." Tuck that down, and then I can pick up that entire cluster or cut file and pop that down. I'm just going to line it up before I press it down. I realise, oh, there's glue everywhere. Oh no. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to look through the sticker sheet, and I'm going to pull off a few of the little word stickers that are on there. There's some really nice little sentiments on there, so I'm just trying to find a spot for them. I like this little moments gets tucked in that middle cluster, and this one says "Oh My Heart," and that gets tucked up under the word "beautiful" eventually. And I've just realised that I cut off too much of that frame, so I'm just covering it up strategically with a little die cut flower. And there we go. You'll never know. There we go, I've discovered the glue. There we go, so I've popped my little Oh My Heart label down. I realised I haven't stuck this chipboard heart down, so I'm going to glue that down. And another little one down the bottom, and this one just says daughter. And I contemplated the flare. I have trouble with flare. I find that if you're going to put something like a piece of flare on, you need to have 3 because they are quite a statement piece on your page. So they didn't work on this layout, unfortunately. Hopefully I will get them in next week's layout. Okay, so I'm going to add a little X and O. I just wanted to bring in some more gold. You know me, I love my gold, so I'm going to do X and O in the top and bottom cluster. And I'm going to also bring in a couple of these Pinkfresh Studio enamel dots, just in 3 colours. We've got the pink, the grey and the white. I'm just going to scatter them around. Just running diagonally across the page. And another one at the top there. And then lastly, I'm going to add some gold Hydro Swap Colour Shine. I don't have a lot of it left, so I'm just going to do a few little splatters. I had realised I hadn't glued down that leaf. Okay, so lastly, some little splatters of gold Hydro Swap Colour Shine just around the outside of those clusters and just at the top of this heart. I do end up sprinkling some on the photo, but that's okay. If you leave it and let it dry, it'll look beautiful. And there we go, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the process. I'm really loving this month's kits. But yeah, until next time, bye guys.